Welcome to Football or Soccer, the podcast, with me, Sam Palmer.
Me, Christopher Dyson.
And over in Arizona,
Anthony Tafe.
What?
Anthony Tafe. We're going with Anthony today. I'm feeling posh.
Anthony Tafe, very nice.
Anthony. It's got a H.
Anthony.
Oh, God.
Well, I'm going to start it off. It was Oscars in LA this week, so I'm going to keep a bit themed to start today. I've actually, to the viewers, I just told the guys, I've actually put a bit of effort into writing some content for today's show.
My God. Miracles may never cease.
Because people probably who listen to this don't know, we actually just sit down and just have a chat, don't we? We don't actually sort of really have any sort of structure or anything.
I have no fucking idea what you're going to say.
No, and these two don't. So it's good. That's the way I wanted it to do.
Sam saw the best Oscar to go to the producer last night, Googled them, saw how much money they make and thought, I'm going to write something for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm writing now. I'm in LA. That's exactly it.
Hey,
I don't think we're winning an award for this. But right, I wanted to start Oscars. I've got to say, did anyone actually watch it?
I did watch it.
Did you actually enjoy it or not?
I didn't know much of the films, honestly. I mean, I haven't seen.
No. To be honest with you, and that is a thing, Oscars are always artsy films that are never usually the greatest films. Usually,
I think that's a fair comment.
but good acting and things like that. Like, because when I think of DiCaprio, won it for The Revenant, which I would probably class as his worst film
Well,
out of all the great ones he's done.
that's fair.
But I was genuinely bored of it. I thought it.
You watched it, Sam?
I turned it off after about an hour and a half. I just didn't find it. I didn't find it really that entertaining. Just a bit like.
It's a bit pathetic and unpredictable these days, isn't it?
Yeah, you knew what
It
was
used
going to
to
be.
be
It was going to be the
like,
political slogans. There was going to be a bit of this. The only thing I found quite funny, only because I love him, was when Sandler was there in his normal clothes.
Brilliant.
That was fun.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
I wish there was a bit more of that. Maybe it was a bit all everyone up their own arse a little bit.
Well, it's not like the Golden Globes, is it? Where you got Ricky going bananas, and so
and that was it.
I like Conan. I thought Conan did a decent job, by the way. I
didn't.
He's a funny fella, Conan.
Him, but I actually
He's a funny fella.
I wish Ricky Gervais was here.
He batted it back, with a straight bat, didn't he? He didn't. Didn't get out of line, and I thought he was I thought he was a classy, competent host. That's what they asked. But yeah,
Ricky was I think Ricky Gervais was brilliant because he just threw grenades in it, didn't he? It was like
everywhere.
It was brilliant.
They weren't grenades.
He was
were freaking tomahawk missiles.
He was fantastic, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I'm going to lead into Oscars. Greatest ever football
Steven Gerrard
film.
Sorry.
These people,
That's
Amrit, honestly,
Chris.
just
That's
turn it off. Honestly, turn off the mic.
Well, it was either Steven or Virgin Veld. I've got to put my teeth in. Jesus.
Greatest
No one had a
ever
drink last night.
footballing film.
I've got fucking tears running down my eyes.
That's a good one.
There you go.
Escape to Victory. Tone, what you going with?
I didn't even hear the question, mate. I was laughing so hard.
Best ever footy film.
The best ever footballing film.
Oh, Escape to Victory, yeah.
Do you know? I think there's like a Trivial Pursuit question where, hang on, what is it? Who was in goal for Bobby Moore's last match?
Sylvester Stallone.
And it's Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. It's a good one.
I'm going to say.
But is there even another good one though? Like, what do you class?
Oh, yeah, listen,
he's going to go football hooligan. He's going to go like.
Yeah, well,
Green
I am,
Street
but I'm not going to say Football Factory. Green Street, I don't like, even though it's the West Ham film. I don't like it. I find it.
That
it's too
Elijah,
yeah.
What's his name?
Elijah Wood.
Embarrassing.
It's an early 90s film, which you two might not have ever seen, called ID.
Oh, go on.
So it's actually filmed at Leighton Orient. And you are?
What does that stand for?
Identification.
But I'm sure it's got something into the intercity firm, no?
No, not ICF.
Nothing?
ID is what it's called.
Sorry.
No, I thought you were going to get us cancelled again. There.
Yeah, so I was wondering what was that. No, but it's based on hooligans. If you've never seen it, it's brilliant. They're called Shadwell FC. It's actually filmed at Leighton Orient, and they're the football hooligans group.
Yeah.
But policeman, is it Sean Bean? No, that's another one. someone infiltrates the group. They're the cozzer, but actually then the copper gets quite involved in it, and then he becomes quite. By the end of it, he's lost control of himself, and he's the far right.
Right, we need to watch this.
It's a really good film, really good.
Get it sent on.
So that
I think I have seen that back in the day. It
yeah,
does
it's
sound
an
familiar,
old
but
one.
I can't remember.
Then you had The Firm.
Which one was that one?
Gary Oldman. And then you had the later Firm, which was that. Then you had Football Factory with Danny Dyer and Tamer Hussain.
Yeah.
Football Factory was good.
Good.
Wasn't it? It was good.
Goal. Remember that?
I do remember that because that was made.
I do remember that.
That was here,
They had
wasn't it?
about 4 of them, didn't they?
Yeah, but wasn't that made like while we were? Well, you might not have been here, but
And
I
then he
think I
goes
was
to
here.
he plays for Newcastle first one, didn't he? And then he goes to Real Madrid and
Because there was a few chaps in and around
I
here
bet
that
were in it.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So funny. So that was how I wanted to start. Right, I'm gonna start harder hitting. And this comes from a conversation I had.
I was just going to say,
really?
I hope you didn't fucking
Jesus,
spend
what
all
have
night
I
writing that question.
No, I'm moving on. Right, this week I had this conversation with Chris, and I liked how it was going in the things. I thought it'd be good for the podcast. Jamie Carragher this week has come out with some comments about the African Cup of Nations that has caused quite, I don't know, a mixed review. And to be honest with you, it's actually got me thinking. I mean, we had a conversation with it the other day, and we kind of had maybe different opinions. And my opinion probably wasn't what you thought it would be on it either. It's
No.
But so have you seen it, Tone?
Yeah.
Now, firstly, I want to state I do not think Jamie Carragher said that in any racist form whatsoever. I really don't.
No.
But then I thought, why do we think that about the African Cup of Nations? Because it is our first thought that it's a bit of a Mickey Mouse tournament, right? Most people, and I think that's what he was saying. It wasn't next to the Euros.
He didn't say that, did he? He didn't
No,
say
no,
it was a
but
Mickey
what he's
Mouse
saying
tournament.
is it's not seen as the Euros or the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
And why do we class our Euros better than the Copa America and the African Cup of Nations?
Because we're from Europe.
Exactly.
I do agree with
you
that.
haven't got a dog in the fight. They ain't your teams.
I do agree with
So,
this.
you know, you don't...
But you think how much... Here's where I want to take this. That how much the Euros is shown around the world,
well, look...
but yet the other ones,
So this
like
is what-
African Cup of Nations, is not. And
Well,
we do
look.
think of it as bad goalkeepers, that
Well,
sort of thing.
That's not it, because I mean, there's some of the best players on planet Earth obviously come from that continent, so it's
Yeah.
not that. I just think, from an economic standpoint and just a pure business standpoint, the most valuable eyeballs are in the West, like where people spend
Yeah.
money and it's the money that makes these things go round. And again, like in Europe, that's whose team you support, and in the US, and again, like so, from Jamie Carragher's position, it's not because he doesn't follow it with the same enthusiasm that he would the other tournaments.
No,
So
Jamie Carragher probably watched it more than me.
I would put good money on Jamie Carragher. Probably watches more.
But
than
it is weird because I will say,
99.9% of people on the planet.
like, I watch all football
I know you do.
and I've never watched that. So then I think, is there a tinge of racism? Can I understand what a black man or an African man is saying with it? Is there a tinge of racism with it? And you know when they say this subconscious thing?
I think that's.
I don't know. I'm asking a question of myself as well. And I'm not
Chris,
that sort of person. Everyone knows
if
me.
Sam,
I'm the least
By the way,
if Sam has a
person.
shovel
it's a
next to him right
fantastic
now, can you
tournament.
take
I
it away
watched
from him?
You won?
I said it. I was talking to Chris. I said, if Sam has a shovel right now, can you take it away from him, please?
No, but listen. A pussy won't have the proper conversation. It's a conversation that
Look, it's a great
white people
tournament.
shouldn't be scared to have.
No, it's a
in my
great
opinion.
tournament. I have one, and some of the the drama is and the storylines are compelling, and it's
Because there's some unbelievable players that play.
of course. But I think honestly,
Like who?
The hoo-ha around it.
Well, most of the Premiership's best players are African.
Like Salah. Or would you're talking currently, or just
The
in
world, yeah.
history?
Osman, Salah, like, we just go through them. But the some of the best talents. And then you look
So
at...
then, answer me this, then, boys. So why? Because there are a lot of African.
This wasn't a coffee.
African-born and African qualifying players who played for France when they were the best
I'm
team
glad
in the
you just
world.
pulled it onto it. So that's exactly what I
Why
wanted to
did
go
they
to
choose
next.
to play for France?
Why do they? Right. So then I'm glad you just said it. Great lead in here, Tone. You've done that without even realising. Do they do it?
Not just a pretty face, Tom.
Do they do it because the world doesn't see that tournament as much of a tournament and they've decided to play for France? Look, I understand there'll be ones that grew up in France, right? Or England, etc. So they might have been born there. Like that, them ones, but ones that have come over later in life and parents are both African, from Ghana or Senegal or something like that. Why do they choose? Now, is it because the French Federation gets them early? Probably. Or England, anyone like that. Or is there a bit that they also see that tournament doesn't hold as much weight?
Well, France just by default, it's got more. It's won the World Cup. Like again, if you've got the choice to play for one of the most prestigious country teams with that heritage, maybe that's a more compelling option. Maybe you feel more patriotic about where you were born, and that's where you want to be. And I'm sure that's something that the players. I don't know what that.
Listen,
looks like.
The French, English, and all that we're better because our leagues get more money, right? So we put the infrastructure.
It's because again the product gets more eyeballs. That's how it gets more money.
So then, with some of the best players in the world coming from Africa, you'd think that TV would say,
yeah, but again, it's like. You're different.
We need to show
You're
this.
different because you watch your football. Like if Liverpool, like when we have these conversations,
I was asking it myself because honestly, I've never given it a second thought to watch it.
Let me finish because you watch all games and you're a true football fan. Me, if it's not Liverpool, I'm probably not watching it.
Yeah,
and so
most people are like that. I suppose.
Yeah, and I think that's so. I think it's just that again, like most people, if you haven't got a dog in the fight, you're not gonna. It's not going to be something that you're going to go out your way to watch, and. There's no way that James... I mean, it was a throwaway comment. It was probably a fair comment. I know where it was coming from, and I think a lot of the other guys that jumped on it have done it for their own personal gain because it's an easy thing to bring up and make it into something that maybe...
I do, because I've seen Rio's bought it up.
Yeah, and I think
Ian Wright.
They're using it for their own currency, which I think...
But do you know what I didn't like about what Rio said? Was he didn't call Carragher directly, but he said it's an ignorant... it's an ignorant
because what they're doing, they're jumping on
outlook.
his slip of words.
It's just a statement of fact.
But
it doesn't have the viewership that the Euros
ignorance
does of the thing. It's
is a
just
heavy
not
word.
on a global
Like,
basis. It's not as big, and it's no one's fault.
If you're
it just isn't.
ignorant, it means you don't care.
Yeah. And I don't agree with that. I don't think Carragher's a racist in any way, shape, or form.
A little bit. It's just it was a statement.
It's funny. I'm going to move slightly on because race has actually come into play again this week with Jose Mourinho. Did you see Galatasaray branded him a racist?
I did, and I thought that was opportunistic for them as well. He wasn't being.
Did you see who came out? And
Didier Drogba
and John Obi Mikel.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Both said, "Our African father."
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you?
I mean, that's just the other team again.
It's easy to do
leveraging it for their own, for their own good, and turning something that wasn't something into something for their own gain, and because they don't like him. And it was cheap, and I at least that's what I.
Well, listen, when I think you people like Drogba and Obi Mikel and sort of Essie and things like that, if they say this guy's like our father,
it's just demonstrably
they know when they're with him every day, if you're racist or not.
Demonstrably not true.
That's exactly it, and it's bullshit that you can say this stuff.
It was a descriptive comment. And it's got nothing to do with race.
Because I'm all for football cleaning up, but I've got to be honest with you, and I've said this a few times. When I go to football, maybe somewhat I don't feel it, but I don't find football racist. I sit in the stands a lot.
But you would have not like a couple of decades.
Yes,
ago.
that's what I mean. But when people still go on today. Football's so racist.
What about the chants at stadiums? Like with
you don't find them anymore.
Listen, Spain different. I'm talking about England.
Yeah,
right. I don't find England.
Oh yeah, in the Premier League especially.
Listen, when I started going to football, was it? Yeah, I remember monkey chants at players. I remember at West Ham. I remember at West Ham 94, 95 season, when we stopped Man United winning the league, I remember vividly giving banana skins outside to throw at Paul Ince. Now, that is not long ago. Like, so that you would say, you definitely see racism, and you saw it and things like that. But I don't see it now, like, because I think it's spoken about a lot. People know it's not acceptable, and I actually think if someone did say something like that in a crowd now, I think the fans would actually.
I think someone else would say knock on the head. You know,
yeah, or
like,
I think you'd be in a bit of trouble.
You know.
Yeah.
I think so.
But I don't see it. I don't feel like I have to take my worry about my kids going and things like that. So when we hear this bang, and I understand and I'm going to finish this on someone who I think is probably the biggest race baiter of all time, and it's Sol Campbell.
All right.
So I saw
while
I was going
down. I'd like to put a lot of leverage on that.
So Sol Campbell last year said he does not understand why he has not got a knighthood. Now,
Sol's a special kind of guy, I think.
He's a very special kind of guy.
But what was the context of why he said it? Did somebody ask him?
Well, he was the first ever black England cap. No, because that would have been Paul Ince. Maybe he wasn't, mate. Was he first black England captain? There was something that he'd said. Obviously, he'd won titles with Arsenal. He's an Invincibles. Mm-hmm. No qualms about what a player he was. Mm-hmm. Amazing player, actually.
Yeah.
But I think Sol has got quite a big chip on his shoulder from every interview I've ever seen. I've seen he's emerged lately, and I saw he do this whole thing about do the Tottenham fans not like him because he's black? Like,
no, he didn't say that.
Yeah, he did.
He said that.
Yeah, he's used. I'm sure it was on Real Ferdinand's podcast. Where he's actually said
comprehension that they might not like him because he left
to their main rivals for free.
Did that not come into his brain?
And then after this, he then done that advert, which is very funny. That I don't know if it's for BT or Paddy. I don't know who it was for. Of him taking a piss out of Tottenham, basically. And you go, this guy's not all there, but he's moaned for years about not getting the jobs because
I've seen that.
Because he's black, because he doesn't get the opportunities, and I find him a race baiter. I've got to be honest with you, because I think people stay away from him because of his attitude.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I've not seen much, nearly enough of him to.
No, you know what it is? I've seen him pop up lately because one thing I would say about Sol Campbell, he's quite intelligent. Like when you hear him speak, he's quite an intelligent guy. And,
of course, he's a smart fella, yeah.
And I actually think, you should be on the TV more, actually. I like you you've got like a good view on it. You're an England captain, you're an Invincible. You've got all the parts, good looking fella, all them things. But there's obviously something why he doesn't get the gig. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely not because he's black, because Ian Wright has always been on TV for 20 years. Mika Richards, like all these people. Now, you would probably say if they were DEI hiring, and I'm not saying that with Mika Richards or Ian Wright, because I think they're both fantastic presenters, then Sol Campbell would surely fit the list over other people. So there's got to be a reason up behind that where it's not just the colour of his skin, he's not getting jobs. I don't believe it. But
no, I agree. I've seen a few interviews, but not enough to, call him names or anything. But I have seen an interview, multiple interviews actually, where he said, about the black managers not getting enough opportunities in jobs. But
why do we think that is the case? More black managers. I'd love to see statistics of how many actually go into for the jobs and things. It'd be interesting to see.
It's a small amount that go through the coaching badges. A small amount.
It has to be.
A small percentage that go through the coaching badges, as far as I understand. So if there's a small percentage that go through the coaching badges, there's going to be a small percentage that end up
get jobs, yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. What time are we on here, Amrit? How long we got to? We have to do a little break because Tony has to set his camera again. Oh wait, do you know what? Let's take a quick break, Tone, and when we come back, we've got a bit more. See you in a minute. Welcome back to Football or Soccer, the podcast. How are we?
Beautiful, mate.
Heavy today, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Can feel you sitting there shitting, thinking, what's he going to come up with next?
What are you going to cook with
No,
next?
I wanted it to be a bit different. I wanted us to have the tough conversations.
Fire away.
Right. Joey Barton.
Oh,
what about him?
Joey Barton. I've got to be honest with you. Yeah. I'm over this prat now.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest with you. I now know this man is the biggest clout chaser in the world.
What's
So did you see the Palace Millwall game this week with the keeper? Mateta.
Yeah.
Listen, he got Mateta. I thought it was a dangerous tackle, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He had his head up. And
You thought it was a dangerous tackle? The lad who
stitches.
ended up with 20-odd stitches in his head?
35, I think.
Yeah, it was a dangerous tackle.
Bad laceration on his ear, I think. So it was a real dangerous tackle. This idiot has come out this week, obviously, should grow up. People, the pundits, talking like he's been hurt. People should be real men. You're like, mate, like, this guy, he's not relevant. People need to switch him off now, don't they?
Well,
I mean, people don't need to do anything, do they? But they should have had him switched
I was
on
all
in the
for
first
him
place.
for a little bit, you know, like I found him a bit mildly entertaining, but now like it's week in, week out. Basically, whatever's going, what he's trying to be is Roy Keane, but he's not.
I think he's trying to say things that are obviously inflammatory and going to be clicky, maybe for his own benefit. I don't know. But yeah, some of the things he says are curious. Like
Yeah. And he like that. Yeah, the man's got hurt.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a terrible tackle. Everyone sees it's a terrible tackle.
Yeah. I think he's trying to be controversial, maybe, and I think he's missing the mark on a few things.
When you're controversial, I think you're saying things that are not predictable, but it's so predictable.
That's exactly it.
Going to say, it's boring.
He's boring, and that's to be honest with you, I agree.
Yeah,
I think about time people stop switching, listening, because what he's playing to is almost a far right hooligan.
Well, he knows his audience. That's the thing, and I'm not
of
like
the past. Like it's kind of like, come on, like it's like a stereotypical Millwall fan of the 80s.
Without getting into politics, he's the Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage of football.
I think he's actually could be worse than that. I think he could be like the Hitler of football.
We're going to lose a few subscribers from that one, boys.
Yeah. Listen, I don't agree with Tony.
Up
the reform. Yeah. Right, I want to go on to Real Madrid. Right, have you seen how tight it is at the top of La Liga? 1 point separates three teams.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And even though I don't really watch Spanish football, but one thing I will say is Luka Modric
is still doing
39, scored another banger. They reckon he's going to get another contract extension next year. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
That's unbelievable.
And it's funny, I saw Neville talking about it, and it is funny, like, Luka Modric has accepted being a sub, obviously. Right, so he doesn't start every game. And then, should you, like Gerrard, Lampard, Carragher not at the end, Gerrard, for example, went off and played for LA Galaxy and all them things. Should you accept being a sub at the big club, or would you rather go off and play? Because I saw Neville say the problem, he said, when you, like Luka Modric now, the fans and players understand his limits. Like, he's not the guy that they had 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But when you go, Luka Modric leaves Real Madrid and goes to West Ham, people still expect you to play 50 games a year at a good level. So the expectation is they've got a player that they haven't got.
Yeah.
And then everyone goes, oh, he's a flop. What would you rather be? It's funny because people all chase the next dream, don't they? They don't want to be the subs.
Yeah, but if you look at Modric, it would be very difficult to go and play in Saudi every week, for example, I think.
Why, considering others do?
Say that again?
Why, though? Because others do. Like I say, let's use
Gerrard,
for
that's true.
example.
So I guess it varies person to person, but it'd be tough to go from what's
the main man.
Bernabeu? 70, 80,000 a Bernabeu must be. I don't know exactly what it is. But having 70,000, say, Real Madrid fans going nuts for you.
No, but let's use Gerrard as that example.
I don't think he had a choice. I don't think he had a choice.
I think so.
No, but I think probably his choice, he didn't have a choice because he wanted to play every week.
No, I don't think he had a choice because when
well, let's use other players like
that.
No, I think them top players.
I think he would have wanted to stay another season, wouldn't he, Stevie? If he could have.
I
get
also
a season
think
with Klopp. I think if he could have turned back time, if he'd have knew that was going to happen.
Well, and I think that is why they get rid of him because if you can have a man in the change room who accepts, hey boss, happy to play 5 minutes a week if you when you need me, I'm there. If you obviously as a pro, you've got to be able to do that. But would that be better off than going off? And I know a lot of them want to try new countries and things like that. That's also different.
I think there's a lot of economics in it again, like
contracts.
Contract. You can go and make a significant amount of money if you go to Saudi in the end. Those twilight of your career.
America.
I mean, and then there's lifestyle. Again, like coming to America, if you can get to somewhere like where we are in LA or Miami, I mean, that's a hell of a place to live and play out your playing career as well. And so I think there's those things in play, and so I don't know.
No,
I think there's a lot of things. I mean, it depends on what's on offer for you, and
it's
depends
the individual,
on where
isn't
your
it?
legs are.
It comes down to the individual.
But incredible what he's doing, isn't it?
Amazing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? I saw on I think it was Twitter about a week ago that no former Premier League player would get into Real Madrid's squad, and I don't like to go.
What do you mean no former Premier League player would get in Real Madrid's squad?
What?
What do you mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's how ridiculous it was. It was no.
So Thierry Henry and Ronaldo wouldn't get into Real Madrid. Well, he's already been to Real Madrid.
Sorry, I meant like an all-time squad.
Oh,
Ronaldo. But honestly, even apart from Ronaldo, Modric came to mind because he just people are bananas. People are bananas.
Mascherano probably get into all-time at centre half.
I mean, people have played for Real Madrid.
Again, certain players, obviously.
We're talking about players looking after himself.
Go on.
Saw something here. Jude Bellingham's got a new girlfriend.
Jesus, now where are you going?
And I don't know if he's chucked.
All right, we're going to the Daily Mail showbiz section.
We are on this one. I'm taking it low because I don't know why.
Well, I've got no idea. So
poor old Jude, I've got to say, he seems to have made all the right choices in his life, and maybe this one's not.
Why? I haven't seen it, by the way, so I've got no context or comment.
10 famous stars, Jude Bellingham's stunning new girlfriend, allegedly dated. Neymar, Lewis Hamilton, Jamie Foxx, Michael B. Jordan, Tiger, King Combs, Jordan Paul, Terrence Mann, Kid Cudi, LaMelo Ball. It seems like she might have a type.
Tiger Woods?
No, not Tiger Woods. He was not on it.
You should have said Tiger.
No, it wasn't Tiger Woods. No. But it doesn't seem like I would say that she might not be out for the right reasons. I don't know. Maybe it's not love. Jude,
how old's Jude? Son.
22 or something. Good on him. I love Jude. I'm actually saying this out of love because I love him.
Crack on, sunshine.
Well, I think he's great.
He's never made a bad decision yet.
Well,
but remember, Jude, she's from the streets.
She belongs to the streets.
She belongs to the streets.
That's his name, the guy on Instagram.
But listen, if he's 22 years old, the lad.
That fella, yeah.
I like that guy. He always pops up on my feed. Right. Manchester United, another week.
He might not be the right guy, Amarin.
You reckon?
He might not be the right guy.
Have you seen what's come out this week? Basically, they've run out of money. And they're basically saying...
Who, the biggest club in England that run out of money?
The biggest club in the world, Tom.
Wow. Wow.
The debt paid.
Maybe they're not the biggest club.
The debt paid $1 billion in interest. They've lost $300 million in 3 years.
That's over 20-something years, though. The $1 billion in billion pound or dollars, whatever, in interest.
But it's still a lot of money, and they're struggling. And they think that FFP and obviously no Champions League again this year, which then brings it down.
So what do you do with Amran then? Because you can't. How can you get rid of him? Because you've got to pay him off if you do. And what's this contract going to look like?
They won't get rid of him.
How many years did they give him? They give him 3 or 4 years.
They must have.
Probably 10, something like that. So that's.
They've just done it with Ten Hag. They've done it with Dan Ashworth.
They're going to have to pay all those guys.
It looks a mess there, doesn't it?
He's got at least next season.
It does not look good.
He's got at least next season in him for that job. At least.
I don't know whether they'd want that, but I think he has. You're right, because I don't know if they've got any other choice.
And how are they going to get out of it? Because obviously they're going to have to sell. But everyone knows now they need to sell.
Yeah, so they've got no leverage.
You might go and get, like last season, like Wan-Bissaka for 15 mil. But that was a bargain for West Ham. And he's actually, I think, better than what they've got, which is even weirder. But so you're going to have teams that take advantage of Man United now, but also they're on such big wages. People like Casemiro, they ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
300 grand a week, 250 grand a week, like whatever he's on, he ain't going nowhere.
Again, you got to pay.
What did he get it for?
You can't just have a go at players now, like if they're not performing. That's your decision to give them the contract.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Casemiro's got every right to sit there because why should he be out because of Man United? It's not his fault the club's run badly. But they look, it's getting worse, isn't it? And they lost again this week to Fulham. They're so far off it, it's unreal. I'd be really, really worried if I'm a Man United fan at the moment.
I've got big hopes for them this weekend, though.
Who have they got this weekend?
Arsenal.
Have they? Arsenal.
At home.
Look bad at the minute.
It's almost like they can't get beat.
I think Arsenal marbalise them.
Yeah, so do I. Even without a striker.
Yeah, I think. I don't think.
I think you're probably right.
They'll
I think you're probably right.
I don't think
might be true. Although Arsenal don't look great, I've got to say at the minute. Without this striker, and we'll go on to Arsenal lastly. But where do Man United go from here? How long can you stick with? Because at the moment, luckily they got some points early on. They would be relegated if this season was longer. I think they would actually go down. Yeah. I actually think they would go down, which is absolutely like you would never ever. So what do they do?
Well, they brought in the Ineos guys, and you would have thought that would have been. I would have thought at least. It
was a great move. It was going to push them forward.
And you got fans and very capable business guys of coming in to try and restructure the club and everything else. And it doesn't look like they're doing or winning the PR battle with some of the choices they've made. Time will tell whether that will. They might not have any choice, by the way. Like you say, if they're running out of dough, apparently the stadium's falling down. And we talked about this in a previous podcast. When the players when they come in and it's not. From the ground up, when it's not
feeling
reflective
right.
of
a winning mentality.
Yeah, exactly. You go, fuck me, if they can't even get that right, how are we going to play well? And it does feel difficult.
I've thought about this actually. Do you think the ex-players, who are probably some of the biggest names in the media now, and podcasts, when you think the biggest podcast is probably Neville's,
for sure,
Stick to Football. Then you've got. Rio's got his own.
Yep.
Then you've got, next one's the Fan Debate. It's got Skulls on it. Mm-hmm. Roy's on the TV every week. Like Skulls' on the TV a lot. So you've got a lot of them. Do you think the players, Schmeichel's on the TV a lot, do you think the ex-players are a part of the problem? Because it is very negative from them.
You know what, mate? There's actually a correlation with that. People used to say that.
Comment and the truth.
But they never had that. Like when they played them 90s.
Yeah, but
Alan Hansen's once said the famous words, "Can't win nothing with kids,"
That's
right?
Yeah.
But you never had Man United, old Man United players on TV at the time. George Best slightly, and he was seen more of a comedic character, really.
I think you've got to be bigger than the comments. You've got to.
But they obviously do hurt a lot of people because we see it. But I wonder if that is because it's funny with Man United. It was only that when I thought of it comes from a lot of angles.
I'd be worried if the players were that weak-minded that they would let that impact their. If anything, it should.
I don't think that impacts them. That can't impact them, right? I mean,
I would think whatever.
Sure it's not. By the way, I'm sure it's not nice. No one wants to have that. But I mean, candidly, they've been so poor, and
they're getting poorer.
You'd
probably argue they deserve it in terms of their attitude, in terms of their performances. They haven't.
On that subject though, fellas, where there's a like bizarre correlation, is people used to say exactly the same thing about Liverpool ex-players being heavily in the media, which they still are. But back in the 90s when, I guess the early 2000s.
You had a lot of Liverpool players on TV then, didn't you? You had Souness, you had
Hansen, Lawrence, Souness. Yeah. And people used to say exactly the same thing. It doesn't help that you've got all these players in the media.
They also didn't perform under them circumstances as well.
It's just cycles is
Tony,
what it is.
Those players that you mentioned were part of the most successful Liverpool team, arguably ever, or the best, potentially, that 80s team. And then they had to watch the 90s and 2000s. And the guys that we're talking about for United, that's probably the best.
Exactly the same situation.
Ever. And, when you think about that United team that they were in, how the force that they were, the attitude that the excellence that team exuded, I can understand why they're looking at it and going, Jesus Christ, how is this possible? Because we did the same, if you remember, in the 90s. And like, how can Liverpool be this when they were, the pillar of excellence for so many years? And so I'm sure it's probably.
But they've trying to change it so many times now where it's not working. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah. I don't actually know. My only thing that I would try is I'd go back to the basis and I'd have the old players.
Oh, here we go. I'd bring back.
Listen, they're going to want paying.
Exactly.
They're going to want, and they should want paying. Like if you were to go, because I think.
But I do think a few of them would do it. Actually, I do think some of them would give their time.
You're probably right. Like a Gary Neville who just loves the club.
Some of them do get their time.
But. Yeah, maybe.
But like them people, I think they wouldn't be there all day, every day. And listen, but why?
But they're going to want pay.
Shouldn't they be paid?
They should be paid.
Get rid of some of the other coaches.
If they're not paying Alex Ferguson $2 million a year, are they going to pay? What are they going to?
It's a mess there. I do not think this.
Because I agree with you. I think it'd be. That's exactly what they should do.
How can they be getting worse and worse and worse under this manager?
I agree.
So hang on, going back to that, Sam, because you always bring this thing up, which I think is absolute nonsense about bringing the old guard back and all that kind of stuff. What are they going to contribute to that?
What do you mean? I think they need to reset. Exactly. I think you need to reset.
Okay, so then who will tell me the top 3 out of the old guard that you bring back?
Neville, Keane,
failed manager. Failed manager.
Yeah, but that doesn't. It's not about. It's not about.
No, it is. It is.
Setting standards.
No. It's a lot easier.
No. I'm not saying come in as the manager.
No.
I know.
That's what I'd bring in.
I understand. I understand that.
Scalzi.
Well, I think they just. To me, it feels like you'd want them to bring in some standards and hold them accountable to a certain standard.
But it is different. It is different, fellas, and I think we all 3 of us know this. It is very different holding yourself accountable to holding other people accountable, because it's a different skill set.
Well, again, if the players don't want to do it and they don't have it inside them to do it, that's a big problem.
But then I think they could identify who hasn't got it in them and identify players.
Mate, I could identify who hasn't got it in them. It's fucking
no, but I think in the recruitment
world.
process, when they're bringing people in, like as Roy said, that one where Robbie Savage, for example, when he calls him up and he's got the "what's up" thing on him, and he put the phone down and said, "Not for me, thank you." That was enough for him to say, "This guy's not for me."
Really I know, but you're almost proving my point for me, though. As Keane did well at Ipswich, he did okay at Sunderland.
No, he done well at Sunderland.
But in general, he couldn't replicate his own mindset.
No, because Robert, what I think one of Roy's problems is, Roy only understands top professionals.
Right, which Manchester United do not have.
Exactly my point.
So
they need to find them.
But
You put Roy to work with Declan
They're
Rice,
not even
Harry
going to be in
Kane,
Europe.
Cristiano. You put Roy to work with them. They understand exactly what he's saying. They're
I just think it's an obvious thing to say, bring the old guard back. It's like what Liverpool tried to do with Souness. Liverpool tried to do with Souness. Didn't work.
No, listen, it might not. I'm not saying as the manager. I'm saying Man United have gone so far away from what they were about that they need to reset it. I'm not saying the manager. In actual fact, though, look at the two best managers in Manchester United's recent history. Ollie Solskjaer and Rude with the win percentage.
Oh, fuck off with the Rude.
But no, what I'm saying is...
He was there for 30 minutes.
But he won more games than Amorim.
Listen, I'll take Solskjaer, but just leave...
You're saying we're saying he played for Leicester.
I'll tell you this, you did. I wanted to see more of Rude at United after, I thought if I was Rude, I'd be pissed that they kicked me out after the job that he did.
Yeah.
For just those 3 or 4 games.
He didn't do a job. He got a bump that any new manager gets.
He won at 4 out of 5.
All right, well, let's see if you can get a 5th. And let's see if you can get a 6th. And let's see, I mean...
And Ollie done it as well. Ollie
let's
second.
have a long-term plan.
Look how far they off now. And we were saying Ollie didn't do good enough because he didn't win the league.
Yeah.
They can't even get in the top 10.
If I were Rude, I'd be a bit salty about that. I think they could have maybe just paused a second and wait and see if he was to deliver more. So
that's so I think that's my opinion. Because the answer is, what else do they try? Because I've just posted this earlier, and I think couldn't be more right about Amorim, right? If a manager needs 11 brand new players to win against Ipswich and Fulham, then he's not a good manager at all. Yeah. Now that is a true thing, isn't it? If you need 11, if you're Manchester United and need 11 new players, need 11 new players. That's an easy thing to say.
I think what's difficult with that, where I can is, we're almost a generation. We probably are a generation apart from those players and the new players, and then you get into these old guys telling us new guys what to do, and there's maybe a bit of, I don't know if petulance is the right word, but that sort of dictatory type of. You need someone that these younger guys really, are going to coalesce around and are inspired by and respect. And I don't know that United have had that guy. Like you look at Liverpool, like you can see there is a respect and a togetherness about our team. Without wanting to bring it back to Liverpool, but they are top of the league, and so look at why they are. And there is that togetherness has been. I think that's maybe the thing that has been the most interesting thing.
I think that's with any good team. There's a togetherness.
It's true, but if there was one thing that you might expect us to lose, having had that maybe better than anything can ever with Jurgen Klopp, the fact that Arne Slot's been able to keep that and maybe even enhance it is something that
you look
should
at
be
Fergie's teams. They were together. The Invincibles, they were together.
But they also
Chelsea,
but they shit themselves with Alex Ferguson. Like that was if they knew that if they didn't, they were on the chopping block. I mean,
same as Chelsea under Jose. Like it was.
Yeah, but there was. I think Jose was also. He wasn't a dictator. He was also. He had the team knew. He went out in front of the cameras and he took it all and he kept it away from the players. I think what he was
good at is keeping the best players on side.
Well, the best players loved him, didn't they?
Yeah,
he was a general, Jose.
Or his best players. Like what the spine, the Lampard, Terry, Drogba, Petr Cech. That was his. Yeah, that was. Them guys would still die for him today.
I just don't know that United, and maybe Ollie was the closest thing to it. A guy that they.
I'm not saying Ollie's the answer either. But this guy and the way it's going now, this is not going to suddenly turn around.
And I know, by the way, I know what he's trying to do because he's come into a toxic thing and he's trying to establish some, rule of law, whatever. And with Rashford and these sorts of things, I get it, but it just doesn't feel like.
I think when a man who's coming from the outside, as he is, comes in and does it, it's not as effective as someone who is Manchester United.
Well, they've also had Ten Hag, who was very, headmastery in his way. And,
Ralph Rangnick, a little bit the same.
Yeah, exactly. They're not warm and fuzzy. They're not, like...
And they also are not winners.
Well, they're not... I don't know. It's different.
It's a bit different if Carlo Ancelotti walks in. But then, to be fair, they've had Jose.
And maybe they should have kept him for a bit longer.
Maybe, maybe they got Jose on the down. I think I always felt Jose was probably the man to come in after Sir Alex.
Yeah.
And I think they got Jose after Spurs.
Yeah.
And he was a bit bitter with the world. He looked like he'd
I
lost
think
a bit
that's
of
fair.
love of his football, to be honest to me,
I think that's
Jose
fair.
at the time.
I think David Moyes wasn't big enough for that. For those,
He
shoes
wasn't, and
at the
that
time.
unfortunately, David Moyes now
David
might
Moyes-
be a bit different.
By the way, I agree with you, and I think David Moyes
he's a bit
100%,
older.
yeah, and 100% capable, but just not. He didn't have that
gravitas,
for that role at that time.
I think David Moyes was probably in his 40s still when he took Man United.
Yeah,
it's funny, like you don't think like how long ago it is when you actually look back and see.
Amarin's 40 years old.
Yeah.
And again, and it shouldn't be. It's just again, sometimes I think you need a few more miles on your clock maybe to get that thing.
Poch,
Yeah, I mean,
Tuchel.
I love Thomas Tuchel. Like I think that would have been
A good
Man
signing.
United.
I think that's the only reason England took him, because I think they realised Man United were
I
going
think
to take
Thomas Tuchel. I was when he left Chelsea, I was like, fucking hell, really? Because I thought he's ace.
He's got his first England
I'm a
squad
fan.
coming up soon. Isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a fan of him. So
Interesting to see what he changes if he brings anyone in.
I think if United, but I mean, you probably can't do that now. But that would have been. I wouldn't like to see it because I'm quite happy with Man United squandering, obviously.
I don't like Man United being shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't like small teams in the Premier League. Like I want the big teams in it, and I want Man United to challenge because it's better.
Well, I know that. Yeah, as a neutral, I can understand that.
I suppose for me, like I get to watch the
Or a
title
neutral,
race.
yeah.
We're never in it. So
Yeah.
I like to see
Yeah.
all the best teams. Like for me this year, I look at like the City, Arsenal, and that, and go, he didn't even really challenge as much.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. Not for if you're a Liverpool fan, obviously it's great. And they've pissed it, because I do think that when I say the Premier League has been poor this year, I think Liverpool have been absolutely amazing and a joy to watch.
Thank you, my man.
I do agree
Look
with
at
that.
that, guys.
I do agree.
Mate, don't
to be
say
honest,
thank you.
Tony-
He's
I
just saying
can't
the
stop
obvious.
watching Salah. I literally, I think he's
know,
insane.
I know.
Who? Salah?
Salah, I can't wait to watch him every week.
Yeah.
I think he's that good. He's
Make
actually
the most of it, because I
I
don't
can't
think
actually
he'll be here
remember
next
enjoying a
season.
player so much, actually. Because I've never been a big Spanish football fan, so I never really enjoyed Messi or Ronaldo in his best years at Madrid. So I saw clips, obviously, and things like that. I saw Ronaldo at the Premiership, but seeing someone in the Premiership, it's like the Henry that at their peak.
He's almost better than ever.
Hazard was another one that was
yeah.
great to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Coutinho.
Henry's still the main man, though, isn't he?
I don't know.
Let's see what the next 10
It's
games
funny, I
look
think
like, Tom.
perception, because everyone always goes Henry. I think you turn to it out of default
Yeah.
a little bit.
What did they call it? Nostalgia bias, right?
Yeah, and I think it is probably that. For me, it's Shearer. I could watch Shearer all day long. And he done it in a
But Henry
poor
was
team.
also Henry was like this beautiful, elegant,
We'd
incredible.
never seen it
He just glided.
He was such a special guy, as well as being unreal with the ball at his feet. But look, Salah this season's probably going to have the best season ever. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
On paper.
I want to finish on Arsenal.
Go on.
See, considering they've finished themselves. The obviously a lot of Arsenal fans having a go still.
Yeah.
Arteta.
Don't they play today, by the way? They play PSV today, I think.
Oh, is it? I didn't even know it was Champions League this week.
Yeah.
I've got so much work on
they
that
play
I haven't
PSV
even...
today.
Look, I'm glad you said that. Now I'll be watching...
Oh, Wayne.
Arteta. Villa are winning 1-0 at Club Brugge.
Wow.
Do you think he should be moved on?
No.
And I think the first thing is you say no. But why?
Well,
only one team can win it.
Where
every year.
are the better
I'm
options?
very- But this was the year that they should have challenged.
Why, though? Why?
Yeah, I'd go with that. So,
Because Man United are awful, Chelsea are awful, City are
City are
awful.
awful.
Like you never
But,
have a
but,
better.
but, but
Liverpool are meant to
Liverpool
be
are the
awful.
best team in Europe, though.
Like let me tell you, there was anyone like if you were had a good season this year, you could have won the league. Like that's because you'll never get a state of play in the
That's
Premier
what
League.
usually
That's
happens
never
when
again.
you win the
I think
league.
he'll be there next season. Obviously, I do.
Yeah, do you think?
Well, Well, who would you have replace him? Who do you think does a better job?
I don't know. Do you know what it is? I'm also not in. I don't know enough managers. Could you bring Carlo Ancelotti in? I'm going to use him as an example and get them over the line.
What about Zidane?
Maybe. I think Zidane's waiting for the France job, isn't he? It's weird. I think that's
waiting for what job? The France
job, yeah. Because I think Deschamps finishes after this tournament, or might have been before, but I think Zidane that's one he's waiting for.
He must be, no. Deschamps must be in charge for the World Cup, otherwise he wouldn't still be there now.
For the World Cup, sorry, that's what I'm talking about.
Do you think Arteta's underperformed? I know they want to win. But
now I look at it,
over the last seasons. I mean, he's come up against City, which is the best ever.
Is there a reason that they're all getting injured? Is that part of his training? We knew that they needed.
That's a good point.
They needed.
Because similarly with Klopp and with Slot, that's one very noticeable thing is that
you're not getting injuries.
Not getting injuries because Klopp would work him.
And obviously, Ange plays that higher presser, which happens.
Yeah.
So there is them bits that I go, okay. I'm also. I think Arteta has done a very good job. But one trophy in 5 years. He's not even going in the League Cups. He's not getting the FA Cups. I think that's the difference where you can start going, you know what, we're winning a few trophies here, and you're starting to see that progression. You're not actually seeing it. Because it's not just the league. There is the League Cups. There is the FA Cup. Now, if you're putting together something, you start winning a few. I know we have points. We won a Charity Shield, but that's a friendly. I don't know. Is my answer, but I can see why Arsenal fans are asking it now.
Yeah,
I don't think. Is this not the pattern that every club follows, or most clubs follow? Is that a manager doesn't do well for a few years, and then they're like, "Let's rip." Yeah, but let's be honest.
He's been there 5 years now. So he's been there more time than most managers get time.
But what I'm saying is, if they brought another manager in, they'd literally have to rip everything up and start again. They would.
Maybe not. Arne Slot's just proved that maybe not.
But Liverpool obviously have a succession plan in mind that where the manager gave them a heads up 10 months before they actually.
No, that's what I'm saying. So. That's what
they
I'm saying.
Can't just sack a manager, but what I'm saying is, I don't know because Slot. Sorry, not Slot.
You can have a succession plan and sack a manager. It's quite easy. You just say, right, we know we're going to get a new manager in the summer. Let's go out and talk to them.
Who is it?
I know, but that's what I'm saying. No one knew Arne Slot.
No, that's true. That's
what I'm saying.
True. That's also true.
I don't run a football club, so that's not my I don't know, and I will be honest. I don't know enough managers that I could say, "Here's the guy. This guy's." Do
you think Arsenal just do not want to play with a forward?
That's what I'd like to know as well.
3 years to buy a forward.
5 transfer windows now they've been through. The last forward they had was Aubameyang.
Aubameyang, yeah,
which is a long time ago. Now, is it him saying, "I don't want one"? Are the club offering them, or are the club saying no? That's what you'd like to know, because then if it's the club saying, no, you ain't having a forward, we're not spending that money, because he keeps spending money on defenders. So that's where you've got to look at and say, is there something behind the scenes? And that's where you can't really judge him. Do I think he's done a good job? Yes, I do. But Arsenal fans wanted rid of Wenger to win the league. That's 20 years ago. So they're no closer to winning the league at the minute.
How long was Emery at Arsenal for?
Oh, not long. Year and a half.
Was it less than 2 years, was it?
Yeah,
I think he would have won them the league,
And do you know what? Would he win them the league now?
Probably. I don't know. No, if he bought it, they obviously need a striker. But in a couple of transfer windows, he definitely have done more dangerous than Arsenal are right now.
Yeah, so
I say this as though it's a done deal, and it might come back to bite me on the arse if they win the league. But I just can't see it. I can't see it.
Right, I've got to go work.
Yo también.
You're going on the piss
later.
You're going on the piss.
I'm going out with a load of fellas who I love. They come to town once a year. Chris is going as well. And come to town once a year, and I cannot drink. And it'll be a pissy one.
Oh yeah.
It's like the most fun week of the year when they're here, and I literally cannot go and have a drink because I'm doing my stem cells. I go to Mexico tomorrow.
That's more important. We'll get you next year.
Gutted. So I'm the designated driver.
I'd be designated not there. That would be torture.
I went to Vegas this weekend and didn't drink.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I reckon that's the first weekend I've ever had out. You know, that we're in a place where you should drink. We have never drank. I reckon that's the first time I had
Did you have a good time?
I watched the show, David Blaine, which was insane.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Anyone goes. It was the most incredible show I've ever seen. And then went to bed at 10:30.
See,
that was like me. That was like me the last time we went.
Like we went. Might as well call it a night, didn't we? And we got up, went out of spa in the morning. It was very nice. I had a really good time, but it was quite weird going to Vegas and not having a drink.
Well,
probably going to be even weirder going to dinner tonight and not having one.
All right. So before we go really quick, so Champions League. Today we've got Arsenal. Obviously, Villa are playing now.
Atletico Real.
Yes, that's a big game.
That's a big one.
PSV
Arsenal. That's today. Is that today?
Yeah. 12 o'clock,
We play tomorrow, don't we?
You must.
We play tomorrow, obviously. PSG
I'm going to miss all
tomorrow.
of that because I'm on a plane, I think, at that time.
At what time?
Munich, Leverkusen, what a good game that is.
Yeah, I know.
Atletico, that's the one.
Yeah,
that is, yeah.
Right, I've got to go because I've just been told that I've got to go and pick up some shoe coverings.
Okay. All right, well, enjoy that.
I will see you all later. And next time you see me, I will have stem cells all over me and probably look like Hercules.
Bravo. Let's drink to that.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.